We are back to the Room Show. It's your boy Go Room TV. Here, oh my God, this is part two.
Part two. Thank you again for having me. I'm excited for part two.
Absolutely, me too. So, we talked about your podcast, all the great stuff you're doing,
hmm
you're traveling. You've been doing a lot of dope interviews. What's one thing or a couple things you haven't done yet with your brand that you want to do?
All right, good question. So, a couple things that I haven't done yet. That's makes me think a little bit. I would say I want to get to the highest level. So, there's different promotions that I haven't covered that I would love to cover. So, for example, like BKFC, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Yeah, Fighting Championship. But it's bare knuckle boxing,
Yeah.
and I want to go out to one of them shows, cover one of their shows.
Wait, you said bare knuckle
Yeah,
boxing?
bare knuckles, bro. They just wrap them. They don't like. It's not just like this. They wrap their hands, but yeah, there ain't no pattern. It's just the wrap, the hand wraps. It's crazy and it's brutal too. Look up some clips when you get a chance. It's like I don't know the real statistic, but I'd say probably like 8 out of 10 fights end in a crazy knockout. It's insane, but it's huge too. Like they have a huge platform, a lot of fighters. They do events all over America. They think they've done some outside of the states too. So it's legit. It's cool. Um, so yeah, I want to cover one of their events. I want to cover more high end events like the bigger organizations. I want to cover more of them more consistently, more frequently. So I guess I could say that's a goal of mine. And ultimately, bro, I just want to have the best people around me and do the best job I could. I want to be someone that people can rely on, and I want to obviously have the same from them. So like the networking is huge, as we talked about in part one. I just want to keep building my network.
Right, networking is very important.
100%. It's one of the biggest things that I learned in life is like you can only do so much with yourself. You know what I mean?
Right,
But once you prove yourself to other people and they prove themselves to you, the bonding, the networking is like you can't do a lot without a good network. You know what I mean?
right,
So I think it's very important.
right. So, how do you protect your energy from like bad energy, like you don't want to be around type stuff?
Yeah, so basically I just kind of like I just I keep a good energy and I frequent the places that have good energy. You know what I mean? I don't really like get myself into anything negative and I just like turn a blind eye to that stuff. I just like phase it away and only focus on the good energy. And so obviously like there's some hurdles like I was supposed to go to Chicago back in I think June, and yeah, for in June for a big Bellator card. It was huge, like sold out in Chicago. It was nuts. But me didn't save enough money, and also the hotel rates were astronomical. So I wasn't planning on having to spend 500 bucks a night on a hotel. But yeah, that like just stupid mistakes. Like I'm just learning from myself. I guess it wasn't a mistake because I wouldn't have, even if I had saved up a ton of money, I wouldn't have done that. Paid 500 bucks a night for hotels just because Bellator was in town. That the hotels hiked their fees up and it went nuts. But yeah, I mean, just learning from dumb mistakes and learning after like me. I look at all my interviews. I like when I do an interview and I'm driving home. I ain't listening to music on my way home. I'm listening to that podcast I just did. You know what I mean? So like that type of stuff. Like I just like I said in the other interview, I just have high expectations and I want people to have great stuff to look at, and then I want them to know like you can come to me for advice and help if you ever need it. I don't think I'm anywhere near being someone who really like I think there's better people to ask for help than me, but I want to become the top and be one of those people who are one of the main people that people go to for content and stuff like that.
Right. You will be because you're young.
I hope so, man. I just got to stick with it. I've committed hard to this, like since last November. Like, I've done like small businesses. Like, I've had a little business and like done some yards here and there. And, after a while, just like, it phased itself out. But I didn't let that happen with this MMA stuff. Like, I just stuck with it. Started off with like, getting like 7 views on a YouTube video and was okay with it and just learned how I can become better and proved myself to a lot of people that I can be one that you can share knowledge with, and I'll always be respectful. I'm not just someone who's going to steal your knowledge and just walk away. So I'm very appreciative of the people who have helped me out and showed me new things. And so we just build off each other, like we were just saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Random question, but you
Hmm.
prefer 7 real views or 7,000 fake views?
When you say a real view, like just people that are actually into your content rather than people who are just like swiping through it.
Or like rather as like 7 real ones, like people actually watched it, than
Uh
like
huh.
you actually go buy seven
Right, right.
thousand fake
Oh,
ones.
oh, yeah. No, I'd rather have 7 people who actually will watch my content than just having like the number up there. You know what I mean? Like, um, yeah, I don't. I do. I work hard for my stuff just as hard. You know exactly what I'm saying, bro. We work hard to do what we do, so I'm appreciative of the people who are actually tuning in. And I'll like, yeah, there's people out there who will buy followers, but people like us, bro, we're genuine, I guess is a good word, and I'm not gonna settle for that. I won't stoop down to that level. I'm always gonna have what I prefer, or what I like to say is my best content may not be your best content, but my best content is gonna progress to be something. You know what I
Right.
mean? So like I'm satisfied if I only get like if I went on my Instagram right now, there's probably some videos and some posts that only have like 18 likes, or like maybe 10 likes or something, where others have like a couple hundred. Um, Nowhere near 1,000 yet, but that's I'm happy to keep working towards it. But yeah, man, like I just learned from myself, and I'd rather have 7 real views than 7,000 like fake views. Yeah.
Okay. And same thing as followers too, right?
Followers, yeah. Like I wish I could have my Instagram profile saying I have 35,000 followers,
Right.
and I know it only costs $20.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I ain't gonna do that, so
Yeah. It'd be cheap too. It'd be like
yeah.
$40, buy
Yeah.
like a half a million
Yeah,
followers.
it's like, and then yeah, it's crazy. But the other thing is like sometimes you go on someone's profile and you look at their posts, and you look at like they have like 18 likes, but they have like 35,000 followers, and that's like,
It's not adding up.
yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't add up, and you paid for your followers. You know what
Right.
I mean? And I don't like that stuff. Um, like if I bought my followers, I feel like I'd be cheating myself, because like I work so hard to have a good podcast or to have a good interview, and I'm just like, but I just have the numbers. You know what I mean? I don't want that.
Right. And like with my podcast, like on Apple and stuff like that,
Hmm.
it's like mad weird. It's like countries I don't even know, but
Yeah,
it's like real
yeah.
listens.
I have a guy. So I had a guy. I forget exactly where he's from. Um, yeah, it ain't coming to me. I forget, somewhere out in like I want to overseas somewhere. Totally blank on it. But he designed a logo for me a couple months ago, and now he tunes into all the work I do. And so it's just cool, like to meet people from other countries, other states too. Is you know what I mean? Like I got friends from all over the place, and it's cool. Definitely so cool to see when people from other countries, especially, tune in and check out your stuff. Like if I do, like one day I did an interview with one fighter. I've done a couple fighters from other countries, but I'll get a lot of love, like a lot of Brazil. Brazil. I did a interview with a Brazilian fighter, and like it was all Brazilian flags from all Brazilian followers and stuff like that. So
Fire.
it's cool when they tune into your stuff.
Yeah. Super fire. What's one person that you like, the one of the most biggest fighters, actors, any industry, who would you want to interview?
Who would I want to interview? If I could interview anyone, so I'll give you two, because I'll give you one in the MMA industry, and then I'll give you one just anyone. Okay, so if my brother asked me this question last night. Actually, I told him I'd interview Dustin Poirier, the UFC lightweight. He's fighting July 29th, this coming weekend. If I could interview Dustin Poirier, I'd be happy. I took a photo with him in a media room a couple months ago. I probably could have asked him a couple quick questions on the fly, just held the phone and asked him some questions, but I wasn't thinking about it at the time. But yeah, if I could run that back, I'd interview him. And that's a really good question, who I would interview if it was anyone else. To be honest with you, I don't know, man. That's real tough. I'd probably interview like Drake or something, like one of my favorite singers. Like I listen to some country music and I listen to some hip hop or rap. I mix it up. I know it's totally opposite realms, but yeah, I'd probably go with a like a hip hop or a rap singer or yeah, rapper. I'd go with definitely Drake. He's just like he's part of my childhood almost, you know, like I listened to his music forever and I just feel like yeah, it'd be cool to interview Drake.
It's fire. Damn, I felt kind of old. Drake, you grew up on Drake?
I mean, not grew up on him, but like you know, like he was all the music that he put out was very popular when I was growing up. I
Fire.
wouldn't say he was like the biggest name the whole time. Like people were listening, like when I was in middle school, high school, people were listening to like Juice World and like X and stuff like that.
That's what they
Um,
were listening to?
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
When I was middle school, high school, so I wouldn't say Drake, but like me, I never listened to all that other music. So yeah, I listened to a lot of Drake. It was like unpopular, not unpopular, still popular, but Drake wasn't the biggest name at the time or wasn't the most frequently listened to. But that's just what I liked, and yeah, I wasn't too familiar with like Juice World and X and all them. I listened to like all the like I guess you can say old school rappers, but like old school to me, I guess like I listen like Wiz Khalifa was not putting out the music that he was when I was a little tiny kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that type of stuff. Like I listened to all the music when I was in middle school, high school. I listened to the music that was being put out when I was like a baby. So I don't know. It's just I would never really call on to all the modern day um, rap, but like the older stuff. It's not old, but it's when I was older to me when I was young when I really couldn't understand what rap music was. Um, I'd say that was the stuff I was listening to. So
I mean, since we talking about it, who's like a legend to you?
a legend in what like industry or realm of things.
Like, for example, a singer.
A singer
Yeah,
that's a legend to me. To be honest with you, I wasn't like a huge music person growing up, but a legend and a singer, I could say probably like I don't know because uh, a legend. I would say to me someone probably like I don't know. I've listened to so much different music, bro. Probably that's a tough one. Go with someone like Willie Nelson, bro. He's a country singer,
yeah.
and like he's old as hell now, but his music has been popular since he was our age, you know. So like I would say he left his mark, and what he did was legendary.
What about like actor or something like that?
An actor, I'd say probably like Adam Sandler is a legend because
Okay, okay.
everybody watches Adam Sandler movies. Everyone's looking forward to the next movie that's coming out with Adam Sandler in it. So I would say someone like him, because no matter what movie it is, bro, everyone's gonna go watch that movie because Adam Sandler's in it. You know, so like I'd say someone like him. But if you're talking like in any sport, I just want to throw this out there. I'd say my biggest my biggest legend I would say is someone like Michael Jordan or Derek Jeter or Jackie Robinson.
All right.
Jackie Robinson, bro, you know what he did. We all know what he did. And like when I think about a legend, I think about what they did and how they made their mark on that specific interest, if that makes sense. So like Jackie Robinson, bro, he was born and did his thing right way before me and you were on this planet, you
Right.
know. But people talk about him every single day, and because of what he did, I'd say what he did is legendary. So that's like how I process who is a legend and that type of stuff.
You got
Derek
it.
Jeter, you know, one of the best second base or shortstops in the MLB, captain of the Yankees, his career legendary.
How about Roy Jones?
Roy Jones, legend, 100%. Yeah, I think that he left his mark in the industry or not like with the team, I guess, and people will never forget about Roy Jones. You know,
How about the Big Show?
I would say 50-50. Yeah,
Okay.
you think you would you say Big Show's a legend?
I gotta go with you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
50-50.
yeah.
Yeah, because like some people really love the Big Show, other people aren't huge fans. So like it wasn't something that like everybody caught on to. But if you're talking about like Adam Sandler, bro, 10 out of 10 people are gonna most likely love Adam Sandler. You know what I
Right.
mean? Or at least maybe 8 or 9. But some people, the Big Show, they don't even know who the Big Show is. You know?
Right.
So
You seen this TV show?
yeah, Yeah, I have.
I watched a few episodes. It's alright.
I watched a couple episodes, I think only like 2 or 3 of them, so I wasn't, like, super familiar at all, but I did see actually, I watched parts of a couple episodes, so I couldn't even say I watched the complete episode, so I'm not super familiar with it, but I've heard a lot about it.
Right. Who's your favorite wrestler
Favorite wrestler?
when you were a kid?
Probably, mm, Rey Mysterio, probably, in the WWE.
Good one.
Yeah.
He was one of mine too. I like the King too.
Yeah, the Kane was good, yeah, probably Rey Mysterio is my favorite just because John Cena is a childhood legend, I guess. Like everyone knows who John Cena is.
He's a legend. Yep.
Yeah. So like yeah, even like John Cena hasn't wrestled in years, but everybody's gonna talk about him. He's the face of WWE, if you ask me. You know what I mean? So yeah, I guess legend status there. But yeah, I would say Rey Mysterio, and this is why it's kind of funny. When I was young, when I was in like fourth or fifth grade, me and my friends or my neighbor he had a Rey Mysterio mask, and he used to wear it all the time, and we used to just act like fools with the Rey Mysterio mask. So yeah, it was a big part of my childhood.
Fire, fire.
Yeah.
What when did you actually want to get into media? Like, all right, this is what I want to do.
That's a good question. So, great question. Last November,
Yep.
I reached out to one of my buddies. I was friends with him, but I wasn't a part of it yet. New England MMA. One of my buddies who was a part of New England MMA, Travis Lazat, and I hit him up. I'm like, bro, like how in the hell do you get into MMA media? Like you can't go on a Indeed and apply for an MMA journalist. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work like that. It's like all these journalists, they got their own brands. I know some of them paved the way themselves, but like, how do I really like get started with this? Hit him up. He's like, yo, just join in with us. Come help us out at New England MMA. I know you know New England. I know you know MMA, what's going on in the region pretty well. He's like, man, just hop in with us and start working with us. So I did that, and yeah, I started last November. The PFL, Professional Fighters League, championships. Basically, it's a tournament format. They go and it's a huge tournament. So like as the week or as the season goes on, the tournament gets smaller and smaller, and then you go into the championships. The bracket. So I went to their championship finals as my very first event in November of
Fire.
last year, and bro, like I probably shouldn't have been there just because I had no experience at all. I'm so lucky I got in. I would say I'm lucky because it was like the first event I'd ever apply for. But like I left. I think I proved myself to them. I was prepared. Like one thing about me, bro, I think a lot. I think a lot. I never stop thinking. Sometimes it's a problem. I've been trying to figure out how I can like chill out sometimes, like get myself so worked up and anxious sometimes. But in other like it's a good thing, but a bad thing. So I've been working on that myself. Just like I figured I'd throw that out there. But yeah, man. So that's it. I just sometimes I work myself up and get all nutty, but other times I work myself up and get all nutty, and then it pays off. Like when I was in that PFL room, I felt comfortable because of how much had run through my head, and I just prepared myself mentally for anything that could have happened. So like I was prepared to get jumped out in the street of New York City, you know what I mean? All that type of stuff. So like yeah, I just think about every little thing that can happen, and sometimes it's not a good thing, but just the way I am, like I'm so focused and I just think about things so much, and yeah,
I do the same thing, bro.
really.
Like I'm thinking right now as we're
It's
doing an
it's
interview.
I'm glad someone can tell me that because sometimes like I'm serious, bro. I just like stress myself out. Thinking, every little situation goes through my head, and sometimes, like I said, it will prepare me to be successful, and other times it's just like I stress myself out so much that it's hard to go about my day. So
Right,
I'm
bro.
I'm
That's
working
crazy.
on that.
Yeah, I'm working on that too. That's crazy.
Yeah, I
And
didn't really know if anyone else could relate, to be honest with you.
right, we gotta figure something out.
Yeah, for sure.
um, so what's new with your brand? What you got coming up?
So what's new is I'm trying to be more consistent. That's the one thing. I'm figuring out what my followers at the moment are into, and figuring out like how I can cater to their interests. I'm also figuring out how I can make one thing like if I could pick one thing that I want to be the best at, it would be interviewing fighters. So one thing I'm working on is just like how to create the best interview, and sometimes it's different because like some people have different personalities and they're harder to talk to. So I'm working on figuring out how to communicate the best with every single athlete. And then when you can communicate, like me and you, bro, this is a great interview. The dynamic is perfect. We're having a great time talking. But like that, what we got going right now is what I'm trying to figure out how to make that happen in every single interview that I do. So just trying, what's new is I'm just trying to slowly work my way up. All my content, I'm always trying to push out new content. And what's new, I'm going out to South Dakota in August, and then I'm
Fire,
gonna go to that CES card at Mohegan,
fire.
and yeah, just like get my reps in. You know what I mean? That's the one thing. Like you push out a ton of interviews. I got mad respect for the amount of interviews that you do, and that's like I'm just trying to be very consistent. But sometimes it's tough with how much I work, bro. So I'm just like, you know what I'm trying to do is figure out how I can maximize all my time. If that makes sense. So
Yeah,
trying to, obviously put in my 40 hours, but the other hours that I'm at home or chilling, I'm trying to figure out how I can make those hours into MMA media hours. You know what I mean? I don't
right,
like to waste time.
right. Sometimes I be telling myself that there's more hours in a day than there really is.
I'm telling me, I'll be up at 2, 3 a.m. interview or not interviewing, but watching, running back interviews, editing. I'm like, bro, like I gotta get to work at 9 a.m. I gotta get to sleep. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I totally feel you. But yeah, while we're young, bro, a guy at my job yesterday made a good point to me. He's like, man, I was gonna go fishing tonight. I don't know if I'm gonna go fishing. I work in the fishing department. I don't know if I'm gonna go fishing. He goes, you know what, man? Fuck it. I'm only 32. He said, one day I'll be sleeping forever. He said, why not go fishing tonight? He said, one day he's gonna get to sleep for the remainder, and why not go out and enjoy himself while he's still young? So that type of stuff. Like, obviously, one day I know I ain't gonna be able to sit in a room like this and have an interview. So I'm trying to take advantage of all opportunities, and I'm 21. I'd say, as long as I live, God willing that I live a good life, man. I'm just trying to keep it kicking for as long as I can before I become limited as a human.
Right. That's why I go crazy. I put out as much interviews as I can.
Because you only got one shot to do it.
Right.
Life is short. So yeah, I feel you 100%. Like just making the most of our time and trying to leave a mark on this world. That's how I like to put it.
Right. Super fire. This podcast was really fire.
100%, man. I think like I learned a bunch about you, and how to, a lot about your craft, if that makes sense. And I'm sure you learned a bunch about me. And this may be the first time we've had an interview, but I promise it ain't gonna be the last.
Right. I gotta come to your studio now.
100%. You host me, I host you.
Right. Anything you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
Yeah, let's talk about this. So I wanted to ask you a couple. I'm an interviewer too. I can't help but to ask you one question here. When you went down to Stanford for that CES press conference, was that your first? Was that your first combat sports organized event?
Absolutely. It was the
Yeah.
first ever. Yeah.
And what'd you think of it?
When I walked, I was nervous as hell, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was straight because Paul invited me.
Yeah.
So when I walked in, I'm like, I gotta find Paul. I walked in, I'm like, damn, there's a lot of people at first.
Yeah.
And then I went to the front row where you were. I was next to Paul, and then I was observing everything.
Yeah. There's
Just
so
see,
much to look at.
I was watching you. I'm like, oh, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I had
So,
my camera up there. I was rocking it out. I had a fun time. Actually, I don't know if you remember, but I had this giant microphone on the top of my camera.
yep.
I had just bought it that day, bro. I got out. Listen, I got out of work at 3 p.m. My train was at 4, and between 3 and 4 p.m., I went to Best Buy and picked up that microphone. And just so I can like kind of tell you and show you how much I think, bro, I'm at my house the night before. I have a nice corded mic, a big like this, but corded, and thinking that they're gonna have some out or inputs to plug into so that I can get the audio for my camera.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, shit, we're doing this in a sports bar. Are they gonna have all this MMA, all this nice technology? I said, shit, I better get a microphone. So the night before the press conference, I'm going through figuring out which store has that microphone so I can pick it up after work. That's just an example of how much I'm thinking. You know what I mean? I'm thinking like, how am I gonna get my audio? Are they gonna have this plug-in board type thing? So that shows for itself. I'm just like I'm I'm a maniac with it, you know. And sometimes it gets to me and it's too stressful. But in that instance, it prepared me because if I didn't have that microphone, I probably wouldn't have been able to get any audio, you know?
Right.
So that type of stuff. But let me ask you one more question. After going to that press conference, do you think that MMA media and having, I guess, talking to me now, do you think that MMA media is something that you'll trickle into and give a little bit more time to? I know you do a lot of interviews with like you're a media personality, so you can interview anybody. But do you think that you'll become a little bit more familiar with the MMA side of things a little bit?
Yeah, definitely.
Or boxing, rather. I'm sorry. That was a boxing press conference. I do a lot of MMA stuff, but boxing, combat sports, same stuff.
Yeah. And I always like boxing. I used to play like the boxing games when I was a kid
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So yeah, I got an interest in boxing. We'll start watching a lot more, learning
Hmm.
it.
And we'll see you at some events.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about. That's all I got. Those are the last couple things I have. If I can share one more thing is thank you all for tuning in. Everybody who's watching this and who is going to watch this, and to you, bro. That like this facility, this interview is more than I had ever expected, and I think you did a great job of interviewing me. I know what it takes to interview someone. I know what a good question is, what a bad question is. I've asked a lot of good questions. I've asked a lot of bad questions. You, my friend, these are some great questions, and I had
Appreciate
a
it.
great time talking to you. So thank you,
Appreciate it. This is an exclusive podcast. My guy right here. More work coming soon.
100%. And you're gonna see some work with the both of us involved sometime soon too, because we're gonna make it happen and do something cool. We're gonna cover some events together. I'll bring you to some MMA, some boxing events, and I think what you offer as a media personality is goes right into this MMA stuff. I think you can draw up a great interview or process the best questions, and I think you're gonna fit right in that in those combat sports media outlet rooms.
Appreciate it, bro.
You got it, man. I'm looking forward to the future.
Appreciate it. Me too, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much once again. Great interview. Everybody, if you're looking at this on my platform, although you're gonna be able to see it on his platform too, tune in to both of us. You can find me on Instagram at Dylan Napoleon, my first and last name, no caps, no underspaces, nothing like that. And definitely let them know how they can find you.
Go Roam TV, Twitter, Instagram.
100%. So now the people on your platform will have me, and now the people on my platform will have you. And everybody tune in because this ain't gonna be the last time you've seen us together.
Right. I'm promoting the shit out of this too.
Hell yeah, me too.
All right, bro.
Appreciate you, everybody, and you as well. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, bro.